Hey, what's going on, guys? I am your host, Jericho, along with my co-host, Santana and X, and welcome to the Raw Report, episode 14. And we're back up in here with a brand new episode for after week 9, going to week 10 now. And we got a jam-packed show this evening. We got a lot of things to talk about. And mainly the thing to talk about right now, is this the end of Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay? Is the greatness, is it time for him to call it a day, guys?
Yes, it is. It is not only his time in Green Bay done, but in the league for that matter. I feel like this man, since at his end, he no longer can elevate the players around him like how he used to. He used to turn regular, everyday Joes into household names. And now, can't even get by. Cheers to Aaron Rodgers.
I don't know, man. You know, I've always loved Aaron Rodgers. I thought he was a great player for a long time, as we all did. But yeah, obviously, you know, with the departure of Davante Adams, it's a huge loss, and they're feeling it. And it's almost like, was Davante holding Rodgers up all these years? You know, but you know, there's definitely some turmoil happening right now in Green Bay. They're shooting themselves in the foot game after game. They're trying to go too big, and, you know, they're not playing the game of football. They're not getting their field goals, and they're just, you know, they're turning it over in the red zone, and it's killing them. I don't think it's the end, but it's, you know, it's not looking good right now. And I think they might miss the playoffs if they lose another, you know, bad game or two.
Yeah, I like the point that you just made about bringing Davante Adams and possibly him being that particular individual that was keeping Aaron Rodgers going. Maybe his time might have been done way before this, or what some believe that, you know, Green Bay should have gotten rid of Aaron Rodgers before the season even started, especially when they had all these funny contract talks, you know what I mean? So that led to Davante being out. It looked like Green Bay was unsure of their contract situation and all that money. And then here comes Aaron Rodgers, which we got to admit, he's past his prime, guys. You know what I mean? He's definitely not a young man anymore. But he's not playing up to an elite level. You know what I mean? He's an older quarterback. So I personally think this might be, you know, the dwindling of Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay.
I have a hot take on Aaron Rodgers. He finally gets his dream, gets released from Green Bay, and goes to his hometown team, 49ers.
I could see that happening eventually. I don't think it's going to happen next year or even the year after, maybe in about 2 or 3 years. I don't think it's the end of Aaron Rodgers. I think there's still some fire left there, but they're just having a really bad year. You know, we saw it with Brady and the Patriots. We saw it with Brett Favre when he left Green Bay, and then he had a really good year in Green Bay. Oh, actually, right before he left Green Bay, he had a good year. Then he went to the Vikings, had an MVP type of season. Then he went to the Jets 2 years after that. Like, you know, Aaron Rodgers is at that stage where he's still going to be in Green Bay at least another year or two because of that contract they gave him. But even after that, I think that's the question, whether he goes to San Fran or another team that might need a quarterback, and he still has something in the tank, I believe.
You know who's looking like they have nothing left in the tank? The Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, man, that really hurts my soul. As you know, I gotta start off again, guys. I was big on Vegas. If you've been following our episodes, you already know that I was predicting Vegas to be like the number one team, man. I'm big on the West Coast team. I still got belief. Maybe not for this season, but they're dead last, man. I don't know what happened there, but they're the flop of the NFL right now amongst other teams.
Are they really 2-6? They're not 2-6.
They're 2-6, buddy.
6, brother.
It's bad. It's bad.
The Denver Broncos are doing better than them, and we know how bad Denver is.
Yeah, I just feel like it's perhaps a tremendous coaching collapse. You know what I mean? Like, I really think that it's a combination between bad coaching and inconsistent quarterbacking. You know, I really believe that there are a few guys on the offense that are doing their jobs and stuff like that, but you know, let's be real, guys. Derek Carr has been with the Raiders for a long time now. And if anything big was going to happen, it should have happened already, you know. But when you're doing this bad with an elite wide receiver and especially somebody that you've had football rapport since you were in a collegiate level, I think that this is very unfair for Davante Adams. He went from being a contender in Green Bay. Let's be real, guys. Green Bay is always a contender pretty much every season. And now he's on a last place team on the West Coast in a brand new city. Like I said, I still got belief in the Raiders, but I do believe that they have terrible coaching. And I think Derek Carr deserves some of the blame.
Well, yeah, he's a quarterback. So, the onus is always going to be on his shoulders. Heavy is the head that wears the crown, and that's Derek Carr out there. And I don't know, is the coaching staff on the hot seat? Absolutely. But let's be real. Who are you most likely going to get rid of? The quarterback you poured in resources and money to, or coaching staffs? It's going to Black Monday is going to come for that coaching staff sooner rather than later. Let's see how that shit goes, because it's a lost season, 2-6.
I understand some of their losses. They lost to the Chiefs. They lost to the Chargers. They lost to the Cardinals. But the one that I can't get over, they lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And that's just really the turnover of their season. Being in a tough division, they can't afford to lose to the Jaguars or the Colts or teams like that. And, that's really going to be the end of their season. And, I don't see them making the playoffs at all.
Nah, even if they go on a miraculous winning streak, they're 2-6.
Right. It's 2-6, and that division is brutal. It's brutal.
Yeah. At the midway point.
Yeah, it's not looking good.
Guys, being a fan from the NFC East, I like me a good rivalry, in the NFL. And I gotta bring this up, and I'm sorry to Santana over here, but the Jets are a contender in your division, buddy. The Dolphins have somebody to look over their shoulder, and they just beat the Buffalo Bills, and they were number 1. And we have possibly some inside information that Santana here wants to share with us about Josh Allen. But what's up, man? It looks like the Jets are running away with the wild card spot in that division, man. What's going on?
All right, so due to all the tiebreakers that the NFL goes by, conference record, division record, the Dolphins have that second place right now in the AFC East behind the Buffalo Bills. Kudos to the Jets. That defense definitely showed out against the big play Bills. And well, yeah, they're 6-3, just like us. We're all looking up at the Buffalo Bills, who now have issues, amongst themselves. Let's see how the Jets do, because I truly believe that the story, the engine of their team is that running game, and Breece Hall's one hell of a loss for them. It really does suck, because you would like to see teams at their strength, at their best, and and Breece Hall's a big blow for them. They made a trade for James Robinson, so all James Robinson owners, his stock was going super down in Jacksonville, right? With ETN now finally starting to emerge, but now Robinson looks like he's going to be leading a two-way pack out there, in New York. But let's see. Let's see how that goes. I truly don't believe that the schedule favors the Jets down the line, and it's going to be a battle between us and the Bills. But the bigger story, aside from the Jets, is what's going on with Josh Allen and a rumored UCL injury in that elbow. What does that shit mean?
If there's any bit of truth to that, then we all know that, baseball players have these common injuries. You know what I mean? In the MLB, that's a common injury. But if that's the news, that's going to hinder the Buffalo Bills severely going into the playoffs. So that's something that, if you're saying that, if there's any bit of truth to what you're saying right now, and they can admit to it, man, I don't see them getting very far in the playoffs this year, because, again, you have the Jets creeping up on both the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. So somebody's getting that playoff spot one way or another. Nobody was expecting. I think the New York Jets are the sleeper of the AFC entirely this year, because, the Jets are usually doing terrible, and they started the season with an injured quarterback. Shout out Zach Wilson.
So I half agree with you. I want to say the surprise of the AFC is the Dolphins and the Jets. Two teams that constantly, for whatever reason, we're always in the 8-8 squad. That's what we are. We're 7-9, 8-8, 6-10, year in, year out. That's the Dolphins, and that's the Jets.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. There's a lot of football left. We know the Dolphins and the Jets usually go at it for one last playoff spot, maybe, or even, obviously the Bills are the head of the pack. But let's not forget, there's 7 teams that can possibly make the playoffs, meaning all 3 of those teams can make the playoffs: Dolphins, Bills, and the Jets. So, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Maybe you could see the Dolphins versus the Bills in the wild card game. That'll be a hell of a game, a divisional wild card. That's something that I think can happen this year. The NFL made it more fun. They made it possible. And I think it's going to have a lot more fans talking. And, obviously with the extra game added, there's going to be more friction going in, towards the end of the year.
I like that point. Yeah, you're right. That new format definitely does allow for a possible 3rd team from the same division to make the playoffs. Or
the whole division could make it if they were all good. But, that last team now. Who's the last team y'all got?
The Patriots.
The Patriots, right? They're not.
How the mighty have fallen. How the mighty have fallen there. But let's see how that goes, man.
They had a good run.
It's been 2 days since BR Gridiron reported that Josh Allen suffered some pain and soreness in his elbow. It's been 2 days and the team has not yet confirmed what kind of injury it is. The rumor is that they're seeking other options. That's why I say it could be a possible UCL. If not, why else? Why the secrecy? Why not come out and say that this is what's going on with Josh Allen and he's all right? Why seek out other options?
Because they have.
I think aside from being a coaching strategy, right?
No, they have to get opinions from doctors. They have to make sure if he really is hurt that they have to designate it as so. And as of right now, he's just questionable. I don't think he's going to miss any time.
Who's their backup quarterback? Josh Allen would be a big blow, man. And I know I talk shit about the Bills, the Patriots, and the Jets all the time. I'm always wishing the worst on them, but as a fan of the game, I love to see everybody at 100%, because that's when you can truly say, I got you, win or lose.
So the backup is Case Keenum.
Yeah, who's the 3rd string running back for the Dolphins? What the fuck?
And that's all she wrote. They don't have any additional quarterbacks. It's just Josh Allen, Case Keenum. So if they have a good enough team like they say they do, maybe Case Keenum can take them far into the playoffs.
Hey, I've seen Case Keenum beat Drew Brees in the playoffs. Just saying.
Yeah, that miracle to Stephon Diggs, no less, who happens to be in the Bills now.
Let's talk about it.
Everybody remembers that game. That touchdown was incredible. But yeah, let's see how that goes. So far, the surprise is definitely the Dolphins and the Jets in the AFC. No one really pictured them there. Some of the teams that, like the Colts that are supposed to be up there, the Chargers that are supposed to be up there are.
Let me talk about a team. Let me talk about a team. How about the Vikings, guys? Balling out, going crazy. Look at my man Kurt over here. Big Kurt going crazy. Every game he adds another chain. By the end of the year, you might not be able to see his neck or his face. He started out the year falling flat. I might be talking shit about him on the 2nd episode or the 3rd episode. Whenever they played the Ravens, they look bad. But since that game, they've been playing great ball. Maybe their schedule has not been the toughest schedule. They probably played the Packers, the Lions, some divisional games in there, but they're getting it done. Dalvin Cook is healthy. Justin Jefferson's playing his ass off. Adam Thielen is doing his part. We know Kirk Cousins is the definition of a game manager, and he's been managing it well. And that defense has been solid. I think they're going to get a little healthier, have some more guys come back. And I think the Vikings are really a force. We might be sleeping on the Vikings the same way everyone slept on the Bengals last year,
I agree with you, bro. And the proof is in the pudding, as they say. And the proof is TJ Hawkinson. They're swinging for the fences. I don't want to say, swinging for the fences, but let's not diminish with that. TJ Hawkinson is now tight end 1 on a 7-1 team. A very capable tight end, right? Whose stock is definitely, going up because Kirk Cousins loves his tight ends. So that's definitely good. That's good for them moving forward in the division that is theirs to lose. Let's see how that goes.
That's a very big acquisition. I love the move. I think he is one of the better tight ends in the league, obviously outside of Kelsey, outside of, even the Wallers of the world. He's right below that. And I think he's really elevating his game to become, in that conversation along with Kittle and Kelsey. He's TEU, tight end university.
He's definitely up there. He's definitely going to be, a hot commodity on finishing the season along with Komet, and then also going into the next season. Finally, some more tight ends into the pool.
Yeah, there's some more tight ends to be picked up.
Yeah. So one thing we gotta touch on, guys, is this the end of Zeke in Dallas?
Ooh, talk about it.
I'm gonna let the Giants fan head off from this first.
Guys, we know this is the end of Zeke. We know this. You know why? Because they don't have the same O-line, and he's lost a step. Clearly, he's never been a speed back. He's always been, in between the tackles and inside the guards. He's always been that power back that, he was able to explode, but now it's evident that he doesn't have that same elusiveness. And Pollard has really, gained the hearts of Cowboy fans. Pollard is one of those guys, like, he can catch the ball, he can block, he can run the ball. He's doing it all. He's looking electric out there. And, in order for Zeke to get back on the field, he's just going to have to be a power back. I think this could be the last year that he's on the Cowboys. I think they might go cheaper. Obviously, you don't pay your running backs. They paid him, and I think they might be moving on after him this year. And they're going to have to beef up the rest of their roster because they're paying a lot to a running back who's not playing. And then when he does play, they have a backup that's better. So, all those years that he was balling out, even since his rookie year, he was amazing. But he had a great O-line. We know this. And, with that O-line now, being diminished, now you can't pay that running back. You need more O-line back to protect your new guy, Pollard. So, it's a cycle that never ends. And, it's time. He's had a great career. I'm not saying he's done. He still has a lot to go. But he's not the same Zeke. And the Cowboys, they're going to move on. Definitely.
Yeah, so I believe that Tony Pollard took his job entirely, man. As you know, nothing changes. The cycle continues, as X mentioned. And the reality is that as you get into your late 20s, especially in the NFL, especially when you're a running back, that's where the decline in most running backs really starts to take off here. The Dallas Cowboys gave him a big contract, and obviously it looks like he lost a step. The team has gone through tremendous changes over the years. And because of that, they've resorted to other alternatives, and at this evolving league, everybody's looking for the other alternatives. It's very normal now for a team to have 2 and 3 running backs, a rotating core of receivers, using tight ends more as receivers instead of blockers. You name it. So it becomes as well like somebody taking over his role, and we've seen Tony Pollard really step up, especially in the receiving end of things. He does both rushing, he does both receiving, and he's getting a lot of people solid points in fantasy, actually. So he's been traded as a tremendous value, especially in all fantasy leagues. So I firmly believe that Tony Pollard has taken Zeke's job. And as X mentioned, he's not done, but he will be going elsewhere pretty soon, in my belief.
Yeah, same here. I'm not saying that Zeke is done, but his time in Dallas is done. It's time to cut the cord and move on.
Trade deadline. What's the biggest trade for you guys?
Oh, bro. Certain teams have definitely shown their card that they believe their team can make a run at it this year. We talked about it earlier with the Vikings going for TJ Hawkinson, solidifying their offense even more. We can talk about the Eagles swinging huge for the fences, going for Robert Quinn to bolster already great stout defense. The Dolphins getting Bradley Chubb, another Pro Bowl caliber defender on the line. Who else?
Who's the biggest trade? Biggest one for you? If you had to pick one big move, what's the biggest one?
I think the biggest one for me is going to be Christian McCaffrey to the 49ers.
Ooh, okay.
Because the Carolina Panthers are just another sinking ship. I know that we have other trades on here, but I feel like the most impactful trade that kind of made waves throughout the wire was McCaffrey going to an entirely different team. And it looks like the Carolina Panthers are just getting rid of everybody, starting from scratch all over again. Okay. They don't really have a quarterback. They don't really have receivers. It's a shit show out there. So I think McCaffrey takes the cake here.
I would say Bradley Chubb, but then I would have to go with the it team right now, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles. Robert Quinn, who had double-digit sacks last year, right, and gets traded to an undefeated team. That shows that they are swinging for the fences. I will definitely say that term for the Eagles.
I like that.
They're undefeated right now, and getting a double-digit sack guy into an already stout defense shows exactly what they're going for, right? I don't want to curse them or put a jinx, say this whole undefeated thing, but definitely a high record and the playoff run. Okay,
no, I like the Quinn move. I do like the Quinn move. I can't lie. I have to say, I think the Bradley Chubb trade is a very big acquisition by the Dolphins. It goes to what you guys are saying, swinging for the fences. But for me, the biggest move is going to be Roquan Smith to the Ravens. I think that's a move that the Ravens are going to benefit off. They have obviously they have an amazing offensive player in Lamar Jackson, but bolstering up that defense since getting beat week 2 by the Dolphins. That was an ugly loss that they had. They were up 28 points. And since then, they've added JPP. They got Marlon Humphreys healthy. They got, obviously, they got Roquan Smith. They're making moves. They're swinging for the fences, and they're not playing the traditional style of today's game. They're not passing the ball. Lamar could go for 100 passing yards, 150 rushing yards. Drake's going crazy. They got all types of players running left and right. They have the O-line, they pride themselves on their line, offense and defense. And adding Roquan back there, to that middle linebacker position, I think he's going to be an amazing fit.
I agree with you. Me being a defensive guy, that is huge. Already adding to a monster defense. But the reason why they're low on my list is because the Ravens, for a lot of their wins, they just kind of got by, right? Kind of got by, and that's what's keeping them from being like up there in that conversation, because right now they're not sexy. They're still trying to figure some things out. Whereas the teams that are above them, in the convo, the Dolphins have a top 3 offense. The Eagles are undefeated and doing good in all facets. So that's why I feel like their acquisitions are a little bit more, because those teams, their wheels are rolling a little bit better than the Ravens. For now, it's midway point of the season. A lot can unfold moving forward, but that's just my take on that right now.
Another couple moves that I ended up liking was what the Jacksonville Jaguars kind of did. They got rid of James Robinson. They just caught Calvin Ridley, and they just seem to be getting ready for next season. As you guys know, he's still suspended for sports gambling or sports betting. And it just seems like they're a work in progress. ETN has taken over the running back duties out there. He's putting up points in fantasy. I have him in one of my leagues. And they need to give Trevor Lawrence a real shot. He hasn't had any real quarterbacking, head coaching. As you guys know, Urban Meyer made a huge mockery out of the entire Jacksonville football team. And I think that it's been really unfair to that guy. You know what I mean? I think he deserves a better support system out in Jacksonville. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that want to see Jacksonville do well, especially since it's in a thriving city. They have a very unique owner out there. Khan believes in his coaching staff, and he firmly believes in his players. He's definitely an owner for the players. So I want to see Jacksonville make these moves, but I do believe that they got some value out of their trades, and I just think that they're getting ready for next season. So those are a couple of moves I liked in the trading deadline.
Okay. Hell yeah, bro. They got a wide receiver 1 for a 4th round pick. Hell yeah. Next year, you got sunshine with Kirk and Calvin Ridley. Not bad.
And ETN.
Starting to build a little nucleus there. Let's see how that goes.
Ridley hasn't played in 2 years. Let's not forget, before the suspension, he refused to play due to mental illness. So, trading for a guy like that could backfire very fast.
Maybe he was just trying to get out of his contract out in Atlanta. And let's be real, it's been a dumpster fire out in Atlanta. Who's talking about Atlanta? Nobody. There's nothing to do in Atlanta right now. You know what I mean? So he just goes to another team that has nothing going on, but at least it's a fresh start. You know, I don't think he was very content with Atlanta before the suspension anyway, you know, so maybe this is just a way for him to get out, and Atlanta cut their losses.
Bro, what is it with these Alabama players who are mad entitled to winning and can't stand losing, bro? Really? Minka Fitzpatrick, when he was with the Dolphins, crying about, oh, they make me play more than one position. I can't stand the losing.
How you guys feel about Kadarius Toney on the Chiefs?
Well, we were talking about this before the show started, actually.
Another crybaby.
It's a low risk move, but yeah, I definitely agree. He's another crybaby. But you know, he admitted to not really being injured while being on the injury list, and you know, kind of faking it to force his way out of New York. But you know, going to the Chiefs, I think it's a good move by them. It was, you know, low risk, like I said, but I don't see it playing out. I don't see him playing out. I don't.
I mean, bro, that's just another crybaby. What kind of shit is that? Oh, I'm not really hurt. I'm way better now that I left New York.
Yeah, exactly, man. These guys are using any excuse to leave the teams that they're discontent with. And they're just willing to get traded, go elsewhere, and deal with the repercussions of their contracts later. But I don't think you can put much trust in the guy that's willing to fake injuries to get off a team.
Yeah.
On a sportsmanship level, that's not very good to your teammates. That's essentially that's like dry quitting on your teammates. You know what I mean? You know, so
other players are doing it in the league, and they're getting away with it. So now you got rookies in the league trying to do it. Like, bro, you're not Tom Brady. Relax. You know what I mean? Play out your rookie contract first before you try to demand a trade or something.
Straight up, bro.
And, you know, and being on the Chiefs, I think he's just going to be another player. You know, and it's really hard to be a bigger superstar or just as big as a star as Patty Mahomes, man. You know what I mean? And he's no Tyreek Hill. So
no chance.
But let's talk about a good trade situation. A player who everyone knew was struggling on a bad team and didn't publicly complain about it, but he got his out. That was Chase Claypool going to Chicago, because it was evident in week 1 they were trying to target him, and in doing so, opened up 2 other players. Darnell Mooney owners definitely saw a boost in the points and in the production because of all the attention that Claypool was getting. And Kmet, their tight end, 5 receptions, 2 of them touchdowns. Definitely opening up, you know, like his presence alone definitely opened up, and the dividends are pretty much immediate. For all fantasy owners, you know, that have Kmet, he's probably starting material this upcoming week to test that out. Darnell Mooney probably moves into wide receiver 3 conversation on your starting roster. And the biggest surprise out of that whole Claypool trade was Justin Fields. This man out of nowhere turned into Lamar Jackson 2
on the Dolphins. On the Dolphins, let's talk about it. They couldn't stop him. We know.
Chicago has a number 1 rushing offense prior to playing the Dolphins, mind you.
Because there's 32 in passing, bro. What the hell? Of course.
Hey, man, it certainly looked a little different this last Sunday. Let's see how this goes. You know, like they've been saying how they've been catering the offense a lot more to his strengths, and clearly you're seeing the production. This man could possibly be the franchise quarterback that Chicago has been looking for the past couple of years. And moving forward, he could be one of the most exciting young QBs to grace the league.
No, yeah, he's definitely proved himself as worthy of spending some money on him. I think this upcoming season, they're going to spend a shitload of money on receivers. They might get another running back. They might get some more O-line for him because he definitely deserves it. He's been making something out of literally nothing.
Mm-hmm. Week in, week out, he's clawing. He's almost clawing.
He 10 times more than Mitch Trubisky ever showed.
Ever. His last 3 losses have been by a touchdown or less.
Right.
So he's almost there.
No, he's got them in the games. He's got them in the games. Absolutely.
He's almost there. Let's see if that trade really does benefit them. I like this trade deadline. It was very active.
Another nice little move that I like out here, Naheem Hines for Zach Moss. And I think that's a nice little upgrade for or supporting cast for the Buffalo Bills. You know, they've been pretty much relying on Singletary the whole time.
Yes, yeah, more of a speedy back, and you know he can stretch out the field for Josh Allen, and you know they don't have to only rely on Singletary or Diggs. They can also rely on Hines and maybe some Gabe Davis sprinkled in there too. So I think it opens it up and it allows them to be a faster offense. Definitely.
Listen, speaking of the Dolphins, I like how the other move that they made, Jeff Wilson got shipped out from San Francisco to Miami, so he's going to be out here at the other coast. How do you feel about that, Bones?
A 31% increase on rosters all throughout Yahoo and ESPN leagues. So he immediately outtouched Raheem Mostert in his first game. Outtouched him in carries. Not only did he outtouch him, but he outgained him in rushing yards. And it's because of the familiarity he had in this offense when McDaniels was out in San Francisco. I think Mostert lost his starting job. I think Wilson's going to take the helm moving forward because he definitely showed that he knew that offense immediately. Let's see how that goes. Maybe a flex option moving forward.
They can't rely, you know, on Tua throwing the ball 30 times a game. They can't rely on that. They know they have to run the ball more, and it was a great move by the Dolphins. I think Mostert is more their power back, and he's going to get, you know, the 3rd and 1s, 4th and 1s, you know, carries like that. So just because maybe he got more yards on the same amount of carries, it might not mean that much because, you know, if it's a 3rd and 18 and they run on their own 10-yard line and he gets 17 yards, it doesn't mean much compared to Mostert's 1 yard if it's 4th and 1. So you can't always go by yards per carry or something like that. But I think it's a great move. I think Jeff Wilson will get some great usage. Fantasy wise, it's definitely gone up. I can see the 31% increase. And let's see what happens when they're healthy, and hopefully they can make a playoff run.
He scored a receiving touchdown in his first game, bro. Like I think that's the way as it goes on, he's going to be involved a little bit more. Let's see how that goes. I like the acquisition. I like how it's trending. Tyreek Hill, first receiver to hit 1,000 yards, on pace to break Calvin Johnson's or tie his record.
Tyreek Hill's definitely flying high, guys. He's putting up his stats. He's putting in that work. Hopefully the Dolphins can get far in and get that clinch that they need to get in there, man.
To throw in that rock, boy.
Looking good. I'll give you that.
All right, guys. So that pretty much brings us to the end of our episode. Thank you for hanging out with us. We'll be back next week with another episode. I am your host, Jericho, along with my co-host, Santana and X. Make sure you follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel at Raw Fantasy Sports Network. Follow us on IG. Hit us up, guys. Raw Fantasy Sports. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you drop a comment. Hit us up, guys. See you next week.
Peace.